Launching creatives is one of the best ways to grow your ad account in 2024. In this video, we're going to walk through what that actually looks like, the structure and templates we actually use at the agency, and how you can implement it for your own brands. In this video, we'll be walking through the Excel spreadsheet that we actually use at the agency. This is one of the many versions we have, but this was the initial draft and the initial foundation we laid into what we use currently, which is a bit more complicated than what most brands should be using. But I'll leave it in the link in the description below. You can duplicate it, edit it, and make any changes you want as you walk throughout this video. So starting with the left-hand side, we've got the ad set prefix. So test 001, this will go from 1 to 100 or however many tests you're running. Ideally, the sole purpose of this is to have this ad set prefix into your ad set on Ads Manager, and it helps you kind of cross-track either as the creative strategist or the media buyer what tests are performing well. Usually you would have someone updating this as frequently as possible, either every week, every 4 days, whatever it may be, whatever your regular cadence is of viewing metrics. They update it, and in that way, the strategist can go through this and decide, hey, maybe these creatives are working really well, let's make some iterations on it. If they're not, let's cancel it and let's add it to maybe our stock of ideas and maybe revisit it later on. And then the status is usually set by the media buyer. So whenever ads go live, you go ahead and change the status from inactive to active, and then the date that you actually launch it. Now, audience, majority of the time, it will be broad. For the purpose of this video, I've just added a couple of other audiences here that people like to test, but for majority of our accounts at the agency, we usually launch broad audiences here. Concepts, now this is something the media buyer or the strategist will fill out, and this is based on the ads that you've got live. So let's say we've got one skincare product and we want to test different concepts for it. We would add the variations and what type of concept is actually in that creative, and then link that creative. Now, majority of the time, it will either be a frame link, an air link, or a Google Drive. Wherever that creative is stored, you want to make sure you add that link here. That way it makes it easily accessible for anyone on the team who wants to see what that winning creative is. Or if you're sending it to someone else on the team, you can directly make a call out and say, hey, check out maybe test 002 on row 6. They can go ahead and check the creative. Now, spend, purchases, and cost per purchase and ROAS. These are the main metrics we usually look at. Not so much ROAS as anymore. We usually like to rely on cost per purchase as our CPA goal for majority of our brands. This will tell us how well this is performing in relation to the destination it's going towards. So another thing that might be helpful to add into the spreadsheet is average order value. That way we can track it accordingly based on certain creatives. Maybe we notice creatives that showcase a couple of people in it has a higher average order value than creators that don't. And this kind of helps us figure out what our creative roadmap should be when we move forward. If we navigate over towards the right hand side here, so column L onwards, we've got a lot of the softer metrics here. By softer metrics, I mean things that don't directly contribute towards the cost per purchase, but they do play some role in helping you guide the team and into what ads should be created. So we have add to cart, cost per add to cart, click-through rate, and cost per click. These are probably the main ones I would look at focusing on, solely for the purpose of understanding how a creative is performing and maybe how it correlates towards the cost per purchase. The creatives from column P onwards are really helpful to get a different gauge into seeing if are there any other data points that help build a case for maybe making some more iterations based on these points as well, and maybe even your cost per purchase. So things like thumbs up ratio is really good. It helps you figure out the engagement of your video in relation to clicks. Is it the first 3 seconds that are stopping it, and does it have some type of correlation towards the cost per purchase and the return on ads? So that's the gist of how the spreadsheet actually works. It's not really that complicated. It's quite bare bones, really straightforward. I would highly recommend you duplicate this and go ahead and make your changes. Add metrics that make sense for you and your business. You can add things like contribution margin. Might be difficult to measure here since it's by ad set, but whatever metrics help you and guide your team better, I think this is a really good way to actually keep track of everything. Another thing we actually like to have is a separate tab with this spreadsheet to kind of measure the hypothesis of each test. So for example, if we have test 001 or test 002, we want to set a hypothesis inside of the spreadsheet. This will help us get an idea of some tests and what we think customers might react to with our ads. This helps build more internal discussion inside the team to kind of get better in terms of your ad process and also how you actually deliver these deliverables. And that's a wrap for today. I hope you guys learned a lot. Hope you guys are able to take some of the learnings from here and apply it to your own brand. Feel free to duplicate the spreadsheet. Let me know what you guys are tracking as well. I'd love to learn. And until then, I'll catch you guys next time.